Okay, welcome to lesson 21, key event. So what we're going to do is we're going to program our little web page here to listen for a key event, meaning a keystroke on the keyboard here. And then let me show you what it looks like. So if I push the down arrow on my keyboard, or the up arrow on my keyboard, or the right arrow and the left arrow, okay? So this is kind of the beginning of a little animation controller, if you will. And let me show you how to get started here. So here's some HTML with a little bit of CSS, hashtag mover. And so if you can copy this all the way down through this little bit of script here. So here's some HTML and here's a little bit of script here. Pause that and copy it, and we'll be back and write some more code. Okay, so you should have this down, all this code here. And let me explain what our code is doing here. So we have a mover variable, which is just attached to our mover div here. We have a div with an ID mover, so we're grabbing that with our JavaScript. We have three other variables. One is X, one is Y, and one is speed. The X, let me explain something to you. I don't know if you remember your coordinate system in your Cartesian coordinate system, where we had 4 quadrants and you had a 0. The origin was called 0, 0. Well, on a computer screen, the origin, where x equals 0 and y equals 0, is right up here, right here. So what that means is if we increase x, let's say this div, let's just say hypothetically this div is at x equals 100. And as we increase x, this div will move this way. And as we increase y, the div will move this way. Okay? So if we decrease y, the div moves this way. If we decrease x, the div moves that way. Okay? So this is 0, 0 there. This is x equals 0, y equals 0. Okay, so let's write some code. So down here we have, these are, I guess you could call these our starting points, where x equals 10 and x equals 50. They can be whatever we want. Let me show you here. So that's this code right here. So right now, let's see what that is. That is x equals 10 and y equals 50. So if I moved, let's say I moved x over to 100, save that. You can see it starts there. Okay, we can start it wherever. I'll go ahead and start it at 100. It doesn't matter. And speed equals 5. And I'm going to show you what that means in a second. Okay, so in order to move our div, we have to grab the variable called mover. We have to tell it that we're going to manipulate the CSS, in this case the left position of this div called mover, and that is going to be x plus pixels. And the pixels in quotes, the x is not in quotes because the x is a variable. And if we put a variable in quotes, JavaScript will interpret that as text. And it's not text, it's a number, it's a variable. Okay, so this down here, this code right here is what actually sets the position of the div For instance, if I went down here and didn't use X, let's say I used 300, save that, load this, you can see that it jumped way over here. Okay. And we need to use a variable because we're going to change the variable over time. That's the whole point of this code. Okay. So having explained that, let's go ahead and start some more code. What I'm going to do is add an event listener to the document. So document, add event listener, and the event I'm going to listen to is called key down, I believe. I'm going to check my notes here. Whoops. Key down. Let me check my previous code, make sure that's key down. It's all lowercase. Yeah. By the way, I check my notes all the time, and I get on Google and search when I forget how something works exactly, because I don't code this stuff every day, so I just forget. And also, I'm older, so my memory isn't as good. So on key down, we want to call a function. I'm going to call the function move. I'm going to call it move div, capital div. Okay. So now I need to write the function. So function move div. Okay. Okay. Something a little bit special about this function is we are going to put something called event inside the parentheses there. And that tells our function that we're listening for an event. Okay? So what we're listening for is a keyboard event. So event, oh, we need an if statement. If event key code equals, I'm going to check my notes, make sure that key code is spelled. Yes, it is spelled right. Okay, so the key code, every key on your keyboard has a code, which is just a number. Okay, and the first number we're looking for is the number for the left key. And by left key, I mean the left arrow down in the lower right of your keyboard. And the number, the key code for that left key is 37. Okay, so I'm going to say if event key code equals 37, then since this is left, I need to change the position of X, and I need to subtract. So what I'd say is X, let me check my notes again. Oh, speed, I forgot speed, right. X equals X minus speed. And why minus? Because we want to go left. Remember, increasing X goes right, decreasing X goes left. Now, I want you to notice this code for a second here. Remember, we read the right side first. We say, take X, subtract speed. By the way, speed is 5. And then assign that to X. Well, there's a shortcut for that. And it looks like this. It looks like minus equals. So this actually does that same thing, just with this double operator here, minus equals. Okay? That does exactly the same thing. Okay, so the next 3 lines of code are going to be very similar, so I'm just going to copy, and paste, and paste, and paste. Okay, so the next key code we're looking for is 38, and that is up. So if we want to move the div up, we say y minus speed. And the next one after that is 39. And 39 is right. If we want to move right, we say x is plus equals speed. And the last one is 40. Last key code is 40. And that is for the down button. If we want to go down, we need to change y. We need to add to y. Okay? So that minus equal plus equal stuff probably looks a little confusing, but you'll get used to it. And if you can't get used to it, write it the long way. No big deal. All right, so what we're doing in our function here is we're grabbing the key by the key code, the number, and then we're changing x or y depending on the key that we press. Now we need to go back, we need to adjust the left, like we did up here, the left position or the top position of the mover div in order to finish our function. So I'm actually copy that code, copy. Let me get rid of this extra space here. Okay, see what we did? We adjusted x up here based on the key that was pressed, x or y. And then we went ahead and adjusted our div down here. It doesn't do enough just to adjust x or y. We need to actually assign that number to the left position or the top position of the div. So let's save that. And let's see if it runs. There's right, here's down, here's up, here's left. Beautiful. Okay, so that's it for that code. See, how would I play with this? Oh, do this, adjust the speed. Like change the speed to 1 and then change it to maybe a high number like 50 or something and see what happens. You could adjust the starting positions of x and y. You could adjust the color and you could adjust the size. Okay. You can even do some funny things like as you adjust x and y, you could actually adjust the width and heights at the same time. So in other words, you could have mover style width, and maybe when x changes, the width changes or something like that. And maybe when y changes, the height of the div changes or something like that. That would be kind of fun to do. So play around with that because that's the way you learn and have fun. Okay, and that is it for lesson 21. See you next time, lesson 22. Bye.